Okay, so now let us start the class. So I hope the slides are also visible to you now.
Yes, sir.
So in the last class, in the previous lecture, we talked about the semiconductor junctions, right? So PN junctions we were discussing, and when there we understood how the depletion region forms at the junction, and then we also understood, because of this depletion region, how the electric field is formed at the junction, and then the electrostatic potential at the junction. And then also we understood the band bending process here. So when a junction is formed, we said that the Fermi levels should be aligned, should be same throughout the device at equilibrium. So we also understood the energy band diagram of this entire device, right? And then we also talked about the diffusion of carriers and also the drift of carriers through this junction. And then we also said that at equilibrium, since this drift and diffusion, they balance out each other. So the current due to both drift and diffusion of holes and electrons should be zero at equilibrium. Right? Now let us extend our discussion from here. Let us come back to the same point, that is at equilibrium. There is no net current, okay, across the junction at equilibrium. Okay. So one can write these two relations once again, that is the current density due to holes and current due to electrons. So both drift and diffusion components are equal, so current densities would be zero in case of equilibrium. Okay. Now our next job is to find out this built-in potential. Right? So since we understood that built-in potential is formed, electric field is also developed across the junction. Now we are interested to find out the magnitude of this electric field and also the electrostatic potential or the built-in potential which is developed across the junction. So obviously it will be dependent on the device parameters. This built-in potential V naught will be dependent on the device parameters, and the device parameters would be simply the doping concentrations of P and N regions. So the electrostatic potential, electric field, and everything in fact depends on the doping concentration of P-type and N-type regions. Right? So obviously we understood that to create a P-type region, one has to dope the semiconductor by acceptor impurities. So let us say the acceptor impurity concentration is Na, right? And the donor impurity concentration in N-type material is Nd, right, per centimeter cube. Okay. So obviously this V naught will be dependent on the doping concentrations, right? So we have to find a relation. Okay. So for that, let us utilize this equation again, and let us say that the drift and diffusion components are zero, right? So similar process can be carried out for electrons also. So currently we are only considering, let us say, holes diffusion and hole drift, okay, and we are equating it to zero. Similar process can be done for electrons also, right? So one can also find the same electrostatic potential via this procedure. That is, one can equate Jnx, that is electron current density, to be zero. Okay. So we are considering holes only currently here. One can do the same with electrons also, and the same value of built-in potential will be found from both the process. So let us take this process where we have equated the whole current density to zero at equilibrium. Right? So once we do this, so one can find a relationship between dp, this dp over here, mu p over here, and electric field here. Right? So one can rearrange these things and one can find out that a relationship between the diffusivity of holes, mobility of holes, electric field. So that is equal to 1 by px d by dx of px. So px is hole concentration in x direction. Now let us also make an assumption here that this PN junction which we are considering, so this is one dimensional. Right, so we have assumed here that the device that is PN junction is one directional. So one directional means or one dimensional, right? So that means it has only one significant dimension, right? And that significant dimension is actually the area. So the length of this junction, I mean the length, this part, and the thickness, that is this, right? So this is thickness and this is length. So this length and thickness are very small compared to the area. So that is how I say that this is a one-dimensional device where area of the device is larger than, very much larger than the length and also the thickness. So obviously it's a 3D device, right? So one can extend the other, to access to make it a device in this shape, right? So where the area of this device, that is this area, so this is much larger in comparison to the length and the thickness. So that is how we assume that it's a one-dimensional device. So in a one-dimensional device, obviously I should talk in terms of then the electron or hole concentration in x direction only, one direction, right? So that is why I say d by dx of px, right? That is hole concentration only in x direction. So from here I find this relation, that is mu p by dp ex is equal to 1 by px d by dx of px. Okay. Now in this equation one can replace this dp by mu p by kt by q. dp by mu p is kt by q by Einstein's relation. Sometime back we had studied Einstein's relation, which says dp by mu p is equal to kt by q. So one can use the same here to arrive at this relation. dp by mu p is kt by q and ex is minus d by dx of Vx, right? That is electric field is equal to minus d by dx of the electrostatic potential, right? So two things we are keeping, that is Einstein's relation, dp by mu p is kt by q and ex is minus dv by dx. So this equation now transforms into this equation. Okay. Now this equation, dx, obviously this may cancel out, it is appearing in the denominator here. Okay. Now this equation can be solved by integrating over the appropriate limits, right? So what would be those appropriate limits? So since we are interested in only finding out Vx, that is the potential in the transition region, right? So potential in these two regions, neutral regions, we already know, right? So again this is P and N. So potential in the neutral regions is already known to us, that is, which is Vp and Vn, right? So Vp and Vn are known to us as potentials in the neutral regions, right? So this variation in this potential, so this is only due to the electric field existing in this region. Okay? So d by dx of Vx here represents, we mean to find out the Vx with x variation in this region, transition region. Okay. So one can set the limits, that is from this point to this point, x is equal to this point, okay, x is equal to this point to this point. We want to find out the change in potential, electrostatic potential with x. Okay. Now let us say, this point to this point. Okay. So at this point, we understand that the potential is how much? Vp, right? So from here to here, it's Vp. So I'll say it's Vp. Potential is Vp. And at this point, the potential is again Vn. Okay. It's constant potential, right? So that is at this transition region edge, it is Vn, and the potential at this transition region edge is Vp. So I have a limit now. Simply I can see from Vp to Vn, I can find out the change in V, that is potential, with X. Right? So one can set the limit of this integration for V as Vp to Vn, because within Vp to Vn only the potential is changing. Similarly, one can find out the limits for the hole concentration. Right? And since we are again interested to find out the carrier or hole concentration in this transition region, so again we'll set the limit from this edge, okay, towards the P side to this edge of the transition region towards the N side. So within this region, we'll find out the change in hole concentration with X. So let us say that this point over here is the hole concentration. Let us say at this point, or maybe in the entire this region, from here, from this point to this point, okay, the hole concentration is, let us say, equal to the equilibrium hole concentration in a p-type semiconductor. Similarly, the electron concentration is equal to, from here to here, is equal to the equilibrium concentration. Okay. So let us say that equilibrium concentration of hole in p-type region is hole concentration P in p-type region, Pp. Okay. So where this small p over here in the subscript, this represents the type of semiconductor. Okay. So this means holes in p-type region. The subscript means p-type region. Similarly, we also want to find out the holes in this region. So we say in this region, the holes will be, the concentration of hole will be equal to the equilibrium concentration of holes in N-type semiconductor. Let us say that equilibrium carrier concentration of holes is again P in N-type region. Right? So that means at these 2 points, that is this one and this one, the concentration of holes in p-type semiconductor, it is Pp, and the concentration of holes towards this edge in the N-type semiconductor is Pn. Right? Okay. So since the device is in equilibrium, we have not applied any bias. Obviously, this will change. This concentration will change here in the transition region, because a gradient in electric field also and the gradient in potential is also existing. But in these two regions, these are neutral, no electric field, no potential variation is here. So one can assume that the hole concentration in this region is equal to the equilibrium hole concentration, and hole concentration in this region is also equal to the equilibrium hole concentration. So remember that equilibrium hole concentration we used to represent by P naught. And similarly, the equilibrium electron concentration we used to represent by N naught. Okay. And in equilibrium, we used to say that P naught, N naught. So that product is equal to Ni square. Okay. So we'll utilize this very soon, okay, this concept. Okay. But yes, let us assume here that since there is no electric field, no potential variation in p-type and n-type regions, neutral regions, so the hole concentration at this edge will be equal to the equilibrium hole concentration in p-type. Similarly, the hole concentration at this edge, that will be equal to the equilibrium hole concentration in n-type semiconductor. So one can set the limit of this integral to Pp to Pn. Right? So this is hole carrier concentration, which varies from Pp at this edge to Pn at this edge. Okay. Okay. Now this equilibrium carrier concentration, right? That is Pp that we have taken. Pp, that is hole in p-type semiconductor. Okay. So this will be equal to the acceptor carrier concentration, assuming all acceptor impurities have ionized. Okay. So you remember, if you remember, we had some time back commented that to make a semiconductor p-type or n-type, you need to dope it with acceptor or donor impurities. So to make it p-type, I have to dope it with acceptor impurity. Okay. So equilibrium hole concentration in a p-type semiconductor will be equal to how much? So if you remember, the equilibrium hole concentration in a p-type semiconductor would be equal to the acceptor concentration, right? Considering all acceptor impurities have ionized. So equilibrium carrier concentration in a p-type semiconductor, that is equilibrium hole concentration in a p-type semiconductor, will be equal to the acceptor concentration, considering all acceptor impurities have ionized. Okay, so I can say that my equilibrium hole concentration in a p-type semiconductor, which is pp, okay, I've already assumed pp, which is also equal to pp, one can say p naught. Okay. Similarly, equilibrium electron concentration in a n-type semiconductor. So equilibrium electron concentration in a n-type semiconductor. So that will be equal to Nd, right? So Nd, which is donor concentration in a n-type semiconductor. Right? So n-type is created by doping it with donor impurities. So obviously at 0K, the donor, sorry, here I said something wrong. Acceptor impurities will sit near the valence band. Okay. So I said that it will sit near the conduction band. No. So acceptor impurities will sit near the valence band, and this will be responsible for creating holes in the valence band. Okay. So at room temperature, all these acceptor impurities will ionize, and you'll have a hole concentration in the valence band. So earlier I said electron concentration, but no, acceptor impurities are associated with hole concentration in the valence band. Okay. So at room temperature, all these acceptor impurities will ionize, and the total hole concentration in the valence band will be equal to the total acceptor concentration. Similarly here, donor impurities will sit near the conduction band, okay, within the band gap at 0K, and at room temperature all these donor impurities will ionize, okay, so that you have now the donor electrons in the conduction band. Okay. So the donor concentration now here, so that equals the equilibrium concentration of electrons. So equilibrium concentration of electrons in n-type semiconductor. Right? So I say equilibrium concentration of electrons in n-type semiconductor will be equal to Nd, considering all impurities, donor impurities have ionized. Okay. Right. So I had a relation here, this one. Now this relation I will utilize to find out this V. Okay, that is the gradient in electrostatic potential which is existing across the transition region. Okay. Now let us copy the same to the next page. In fact, before that, let us also discuss about the abrupt step junction and linearly graded junction. Okay. So this is also important because in this discussion we are considering that our device is an abrupt step junction, right? So what is abrupt step junction is also important, right? So for abrupt step junction, how it is created, first of all, let us understand. So let us say I have a silicon over here, and let us say I want to dope this silicon with p-type impurities, so that I can make it a p-type semiconductor, right? So for that I simply put on the aluminum pellets over this silicon. Okay. So aluminum pellets or aluminum material is placed. So aluminum is a group 3 impurity. So aluminum pellets are placed over silicon. Okay. Now this entire setup, right, entire device or entire setup, so this is heated. Okay. So this is heated, and at somewhere around 600 degrees centigrade, the aluminum pellets, they melt. Okay. So aluminum melts and when it melts, it makes a contact with silicon. So at 600 degrees centigrade, aluminum melts and it makes a contact with silicon, and then the entire setup is cooled, slowly cooled, okay? Slowly cooled, so that we have a uniform distribution of aluminum atoms or aluminum material over the silicon, right? So this how when the junction is formed, so this is called step junction, okay? Now in this step junction, what is important to learn is, or to notice is, that the the concentration. So let us continue from here. Okay. Yeah, so aluminum is as I said, that aluminum is a p-type impurity, or maybe a acceptor impurity. Okay. And let us consider that the semiconductor we have is n-type. Okay. So that is how a p-n junction will be formed, right? So this is p-type impurity, and the semiconductor beneath is n, right? And we want to create a p-n junction. Okay. So the important thing to note here is the carrier concentration at the junction, right? So let us say that this is the junction. So this point I have junction. So we are interested now to know how the carrier concentration change at the junction. Okay. So depending upon how the carrier concentration change at the junction, we define the junction as either step junction or linearly graded junction. In this case, it's a step junction. Okay. So in the step junction, the carrier concentration, this changes abruptly at the junction. Okay. So abruptly means that at the junction, that is at this point, let us say this is junction. Okay. So which is represented here on y-axis, this line is junction. Okay. So at this line, that is at junction, the carrier concentration changes abruptly. Okay. That is, before this junction, you have a carrier concentration which is due to acceptor impurities. Okay. So all acceptor impurities, and then immediately at this junction, okay, on the other side, the carrier impurities or the carrier concentration turns into donor concentration, Nd plus. Okay. So the carrier concentration changes abruptly at the junction. Okay. At the junction itself, towards the left, it is equal to the acceptor concentration. Okay. Similarly, towards the right, it is equal to the donor concentration per centimeter cube. Right? However, in the linearly graded junction, so in a linearly graded junction, the carrier concentration does not changes abruptly at the junction. So again, this line represents my junction. Okay. So the carrier concentration does not abruptly changes like a step, okay, but it changes linearly. So if this is my Na minus Nd on y-axis, so the carrier concentration changes linearly with x, right? This is, let's say, x over here. Okay. So the carrier concentration changes abruptly at the junction here, but here it changes linearly. Okay. Now this junction, that is linearly or graded junction, this is created in a different way. So again, you have a n-type silicon semiconductor, let us say, and in this n-type silicon semiconductor, we create a cavity. Let us say at this point, we create a cavity. Okay. And in this cavity, we try to diffuse the dopants, okay, via the diffusion process. The doping impurities are diffused via in this cavity via either diffusion process or either by implantation process. So both these processes can be utilized, that is implantation process and diffusion process, to create a p-type region. So this is my p-type region now, inside a n-type semiconductor. So if this way the p-n junction is created via either diffusion or implantation of impurities inside a n-type semiconductor, if this way it is done via diffusion and implantation, ion implantation. So then we have a linearly graded junction formed where the doping concentration varies linearly as you move away from the junction at this point. So this is the difference between step junction and the linearly graded junction. In fact, we do not use this junction now. This is more popular now. So in modeling also, in fact, in the fabrication also, we utilize this part now, right? So this is not used now. But yes, for our purpose, discussion purpose, since this is simple to understand, we are considering that the junction that we are considering, so this junction, this is abrupt junction or step junction. Okay, now let us carry on. This equation we again copy because our aim is to find out the built-in potential V naught. So let us copy this equation to the next page. Or in fact, considering the limits, one can integrate it. So this will simply becomes minus Q by KT Vn minus Vp. Okay. And this 1 by P, this will become log P. This will become log Pn minus log Pp. Right. So that is what has been done over here. So this becomes minus Q by Qt Vn minus Vp is equal to natural logarithm of Pn minus natural logarithm of Pp, or this is equal to natural logarithm of Pn by Pp. Okay. Where this Vn minus Vp, if you go back here, you will find this Vn minus Vp. That is Vn minus Vp is equal to this difference, V naught. So one can replace Vn minus Vp by the contact potential V naught. Well, our aim is to find out the contact potential V naught. So we say that Vn minus Vp is equal to V naught, okay, from the energy band diagram also, and from the potential profile also, right? So we have modified now this equation as, right? So here you put this as V naught. So this becomes V naught is equal to KT by Q ln instead of Pn by Pp. So since we have to absorb this minus sign also, so we say Pp by Pn, right? V naught is KT by Q ln Pp by Pn. So we have found out the electrostatic potential versus the whole concentration on P side and the whole concentration on N side. Okay. We started with saying that the overall current density due to hole is 0. So we arrived at this relation. Similarly, we can start with saying overall electron current density is 0. So we will then arrive at a relation where Pp will be replaced by Np, okay, electrons in p-type semiconductor, and Pn will be replaced by Nn, electrons in n-type semiconductor. Okay. So then one can also find the same relation, that is V naught will be again equal to with respect to Np and Nn. Okay. And now Pp and Pn can be replaced by the acceptor impurity concentration and the donor impurity concentration in this equation. Let us try to replace this Pp and Pn by acceptor impurity concentration and donor impurity concentration. We understood that at equilibrium, the concentration of electrons and holes, the product of it is equal to Ni square. Okay. Now in a p-type material, we said that it is doped with acceptor impurities, okay, and at equilibrium the acceptor impurity equal to the equilibrium concentration is equal to the total acceptor carrier concentration. Okay. So I can modify this relation by saying that at equilibrium the total hole concentration in a p-type semiconductor is equal to total acceptor concentration, considering all acceptor impurities have ionized. So I can modify this, that is Na multiplied by N naught. So this is equal to now Ni square. And this hole in p-type semiconductor. So that we had said it is PP, hole in p-type semiconductor. And this N naught is electron in p-type semiconductor. N naught is electron in p-type semiconductor. So electron in p-type semiconductor. Maybe just a second. Just a second. Oh, sorry. This is not. This is electron, of course, but we are considered with this PN, right? That is holes in N-type semiconductor. Right? So we are also considered with the holes in N-type semiconductor. So we have a relation over here, which gives me the holes in P-type semiconductor. So this is equal to Ni square. Okay, so I'll write here P naught from here, or maybe PP from here, which is P naught. So PP can be replaced by in fact, PP cannot be replaced. PP is already Na, right? So PP, that is hole concentration in P-type semiconductor. So that is equal to Na, right? Because for 100% ionization, we said the hole concentration in P-type semiconductor is equal to the acceptor carrier concentration. So we'll replace PP by Na only, right? So PP, if you replace by Na over here in this equation, so PP is replaced by Na. PP is replaced by Na, that is hole concentration in P-type semiconductor is replaced by Na. Okay. Now Pn, that is hole concentration in N-type semiconductor. Okay. So that is hole concentration in N-type semiconductor. So for N-type semiconductor, we'll write electrons in N-type semiconductor multiplied by electrons in N-type semiconductor multiplied by holes in N-type semiconductor. So that is equal to Ni square. That is N0 multiplied by P naught. That is equal to Ni square, right? For an N-type semiconductor. For an N-type semiconductor, I can write that electrons in N-type semiconductor multiplied by holes in N-type semiconductor. Subscript means N-type semiconductor. So that is equal to Ni square. Okay. And since N-type is formed by doping the semiconductor by donor impurities, right? So that is this Nn can be replaced by donor impurities now here Nd. Okay. And this Pn remains same. It is holes in N-type semiconductor, and I have this relation. Okay. So from here one can find out Pn. Right. So Pn would be equal to, because we require here Pn. PP we have assumed Na. So Pn we require. Right. So Pn is Ni square by Nd. Okay. Pn is Ni square by Nd. So we put Pn as Ni square by Nd over here. Okay. So this Pn we have replaced by Ni square by Nd. And now we have this relation. That is V naught, that is built-in potential. This is equal to Kt by Q log Na Nd by Ni square. So this is a very important relation to remember. One can remember this equation also. That is built-in potential is dependent on the doping concentrations, acceptor impurity concentration and the donor doping impurity concentration. Okay. Now from this equation, so one can find another relation, which is this one. That is PP by Pn is equal to E to the power QV naught by KT. Okay. And in equilibrium, as we have already mentioned over here, that this Pn n naught is Ni square, or for p-type semiconductor, this turns into, we had already said, for a p-type semiconductor, that is holes in p-type semiconductor multiplied by electrons in p-type semiconductor. So this is equal to Ni square. Similarly, holes in n-type semiconductor multiplied by electrons in n-type semiconductor, which is, we have written here. Maybe I'll take another ink. So we have written over here this one, that is holes in n-type semiconductor, this one, and electrons in n-type semiconductor, this one. So this is equal to Ni square. So we have mentioned over here Ni square, right? So Pp NP is equal to Ni square is equal to Pn Nn. So I have another relation. So from this relation, one can find out, using this and this, one can find out a relation again, that is this relation between the holes in p-type and holes in n-type. So that is equal to electrons in n-type divided by electrons in p-type, and that is equal to e to the power qv naught by kt. Right? So another relation we have between the holes and electrons in p and n-type semiconductors with the built-in potential V naught. Okay, let us see how much time we have. Okay, we have time. Now let us copy here this equation. Okay, so this equation let us copy on the next page. That is Pp by Pn is e to the power qv naught by kt. So same equation we copy here. Pp by Pn is e to the power qv naught by kt. Right? So I have copied here same equation, right, on the next page. Okay. Now this hole in p-type semiconductor, hole concentration in p-type semiconductor, okay, at equilibrium, and hole concentration in n-type semiconductor at equilibrium. So this can be given by these two relations. So I'll take you back again to where we had found this hole concentrations. So I'll go back again. I think it is slide number 33, maybe. Let us see. So I had some time back told you how to find out the electron and hole concentrations at equilibrium. Okay. Yeah, here it is. Here, correct. This one, this equation. Maybe I'll copy this equation there itself. Let us copy this equation. So this equation we had seen earlier. So I'll simply copy this equation to our discussion over here. So we had understood how this equation came earlier, right? That is hole concentration at equilibrium. So that is given by equal to Nv, which is density of states in the valence band, multiplied by e raised to the power minus EF minus EV by KT. Right? So Fermi level was considered as EF, because in equilibrium it is EF only. Right? So we'll utilize this for PP and PN, right? Because PP is equilibrium hole concentration, okay, in p-type region, and PN is equilibrium hole concentration in n-type region. Okay? So one can write PP is NV e to the power minus EF minus EV by KT. Right? So since it's a p-type semiconductor, we say EFP and EVP. Okay. In fact, there is no point in mentioning EFP over here, because at equilibrium it's only EF, right? But yes, since we want to say that since it's a p-type semiconductor, let's say EFP. Okay. I understand that EF is equal to EFP at equilibrium, right? Similarly, one can write for PN, that is hole concentration in n-type semiconductor. So which is again, by looking at this, NV e to the power minus EFN. Again, I can write EF only because I know EF is equal to EFN and EFP minus EVN. Okay, EV, that is valence band energy level in N-type semiconductor, divided by KT. So from this, I can further simplify this equation to arrive at this relation over here, that is E to the power QV naught by KT now is equal to E to the power, because NV cancels out here, so we are left with E to the power Fn minus Fp by KT multiplied by E to the power Vp minus Vn by KT. Okay. So this relation we can find out. Okay. Now we understand that since the Fermi level is same, that is EF, okay, so one can put EFN minus EFP is equal to 0 because both are same, right? EF is at equilibrium. We have EF is equal to EFN is equal to EFP. I mean, Fermi level is same. We had just assumed it is for P type it is EFP and for N type it is EFN, but actually it is same in equilibrium. So this term, that is EFN minus EFP, would be equal to 0. Right? So putting this over here, one can find out a relation finally. Okay. Now this relation, that is QV naught is equal to EVP minus EVN. So this can also be verified in the energy band diagram. In fact, this is the barrier potential, QV naught. Okay. Let's go back to the this equation over here. I mean this picture. So in this picture, EVP minus EVN. So difference gives me the barrier potential that the hole sees. Right. Same thing, EVP minus EVN is equal to QV naught. So this is what we are getting over here. Right, this one. Maybe I'll erase everything. Right, that is this one. So this is my barrier potential. Barrier potential in the energy band diagram. In the energy band diagram, this is my barrier potential for holes. Similarly, one can find out the barrier potential for electrons. So which will be equal to ECP minus ECN. Right? So ECP minus ECN. So that will be equal to QV naught again. So that can be arrived by considering the electron current density is 0. Right? So since we have only considered whole current density, so we have a relationship between the barrier potential, potential and the barrier energy. Okay. For P type, for holes, so for electrons, if we carry on our same thing, that is we started by assuming this part is 0, and I said that one can also assume Jn is equal to 0 to arrive at the same relation. So once you do that, you will find the barrier for electron, which is also same, that is ECP minus ECN. So one can write here that I have another relation, that is QV naught for electrons, barrier potential for electrons. So this will be equal to EC, that is conduction band energy level in P-type semiconductor, minus conduction band energy level in N-type semiconductor. So this is the barrier potential for, this one was for holes and this is for electrons. This was for holes and this is for electrons. So one can find out this one. Okay, now let us see how much time we have. Maybe let us discuss for 2-3 minutes, few more things. Now the next thing, this is important concept here. now when the junction is formed, we understood that because of the diffusion of electrons and holes, this space charge region is created, and we have acceptor ion impurities present on the p side and donor ion impurities present on the n side, right? Now the important concept here is that this donor charge, okay, that is which is appearing in this region, so that should be equal to the acceptor charge which is appearing on the p side. Okay. Okay. So this is an important concept, that the donor charge on the p side, sorry, donor charge on the n side, okay, so that should be equal to the acceptor charge on the n side, sorry, p side. So that is why you are seeing that for every plus you have a minus here on the opposite side. Yeah? So 3 plus, 3 minus, 3 plus, again 3 minus. Right? That is, the positive charges should be equal to the negative charges at the junction. So what happens if it is not so? Okay. So if it is not so, then the electric field which is appearing over here in this transition region. So electric field is currently contained within the transition region. So if that is only possible because these charges are equal. If these two charges are not equal, the electric field may not be contained inside this. Maybe electric field may also be present then in this p-type region, or maybe in n-type region, depending upon which type of charge is small, right? Because electric field, we understood that it terminates at positive terminal, and it ends at the negative terminal. Okay. So if the number of charges, negative charges here, or acceptor ions, so this is smaller compared to the number of donor ions present here, then this electric field will not be contained in this region. Right? So this electric field then will not be contained in this region. This electric field will also be found in the p-type region. Okay? So that is why, in fact, we will justify this thing. By a mathematical model, we will justify that these two charges have to be equal. Right? So I'm just telling you right now that these two charges have to be equal because electric field has to be contained in this region. Otherwise, it will be present in either p-type or n-type region, depending upon which in which portion the charge is smaller. Okay? So this can be modeled by mathematical equations. We will model this to find out this relation, that is, these two charges have to be equal. In fact, that can also be understood by considering the doping concentrations across the p-type and n-type region. Okay. So currently in this case, you might be noticing that the depletion region width is smaller on the n side compared to the depletion region width on the p side. So you are noticing here that the depletion region width on p side is larger, okay, in comparison to the depletion region width on the n side. So that is actually controlled again by the doping concentration on n side and p side. So in this case, the doping concentration on n side is larger. So the doping concentration on n side, that is the concentration of donor impurities, is larger than the concentration of acceptor impurities, or maybe this you can call. Right? So this actually controls the penetration of the space charge region into either p-type or n-type region. Right? So this width, that is, I call it, let us say, penetration of the space charge region into p-type material, and penetration of the space charge or transition region or depletion region into n-type region. So this is controlled by the doping concentrations of n and p-type region. And if in this case the doping concentration of n-type, that is donor concentration, is more than the acceptor impurity concentration, so whichever side is lightly doped, that means this is lightly doped, p-type is lightly doped in n-type, because the donor concentration on N type is larger, okay, than the donor concentration on P type. So we say that N type is heavily doped or P type is lightly doped. So P type is lightly doped here in comparison to the N type. And the semiconductor which is lightly doped, so that will see more penetration of the depletion region. So obviously that can be again related. Let us say that maybe here I'll draw. Let us say that I have ND as greater than NA. Okay, this relation holds true. Let us say, okay, and let us say because of some regions this Q positive is not equal to Q negative. Okay, let us say that for some reasons Q positive is not equal to Q negative. So obviously if ND is greater than NA, that is donor concentration is more, so more donor ions will be contained in the same region. Let us say these two penetrations are same in P type and N type regions. Okay, so obviously that means in this region, because of donor density is more, so donor ion concentration will also be more in this region compared to this. So I'll have more donor ions. The third one is also existing over here. So I have more donor ions. Okay, I have more donor ions in the N-type region compared to the acceptor ions on P-type region. Right? So more donor ions in N-type region. Right? So in every row I have 3 here, but every row I have just 2. So obviously the charges are not balanced in this case. Okay? So if I assume that the penetrations are same and ND is greater than NA and the penetrations are same, if I assume this, then obviously these two charges will not be equal. Right? That is, this will not hold true here. Okay? So to make this true, I have to have more charges on the P side. So to have more charges, obviously this has to be extended so that I have more charges. So that the charges on P and N side, the donor ions and acceptor ions are equal, so that the electric field is contained within the depletion region. So maybe I'll stop here and then we can continue from the same point in the next lecture. If you have any queries, then please ask. Yeah, so if you have any queries, please ask.